My deepest gratitude goes out to all of you, our wonderful audience, for your incredible support. It's thanks to your engagement that we are able to do what we do. Our team works tirelessly behind the scenes to bring you these messages, and every view, every like, and every share inspires us to keep creating content that can make a real difference in your lives. We truly appreciate you. To make sure you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, please subscribe to Proctor Mindset and hit that notification bell. It's a small action that makes a huge impact, helping us reach even more people who need to hear this message. And now, let's begin. Do you want to know why you're still not wealthy? I'm going to tell you something that might sound absurd, even offensive. The money you dream of having, it's already yours. But your mind is insisting on keeping you poor. You don't need to work harder. You don't need to be smarter. You simply need to stop sabotaging yourself. Most people are mentally bankrupt before they even try to get rich, because they believe they can't, and they're right, because they believe it. Have you ever wondered why people with a high IQ are in debt, while others with little formal education build empires? The answer lies in what I'm about to show you now. You have been conditioned since childhood. The way you think about money, what you believe is possible or impossible, none of it comes from you. You were taught that money is dirty, that desiring wealth is selfish, that if you're born poor, you die poor. And the worst part is, you're taught that you should be content with what you have. So, I ask you a question, how many times have you had a dream, and a few seconds later, your own mind sabotaged it? That's not for me. I'll never make it. I don't have the money, the contacts, the education. These phrases don't come from your heart. They come from a mind that has been trained to obey, not to create, trained to survive, not to prosper. I clearly remember a time when I was earning $4,000 a year, about £3,200, and I had a debt of $6,000, about £4,800. Even if I gave away every penny I earned for 18 months, I couldn't get out of debt. And I thought, this is life. Work hard, pay the bills, repeat. But deep down, something bothered me. I saw people earning fortunes, living in freedom, and I wondered, what do they have that I don't? It was then that a man gave me a book. Think and Grow Rich. He said to me, Bob, read this. Do exactly what's written, and you can have whatever you want. At the time, I didn't believe it, but I believed that he believed it, and that was enough to get me started. In less than a year, my income went from $4,000 a year to $9,000 a month, about £7,200. And no, I didn't become smarter. I simply started to think differently. Because you see, money is a mental game. He who thinks like a poor man, acts like a poor man, and he who acts like a poor man, stays poor. The money you don't have today isn't in someone else's bank. It's hidden in your beliefs, trapped in a repeating mental cycle that paralyzes and impoverishes. And before you think, this is just a motivational speech, let me tell you what science says. According to Harvard Business School, over 90% of the financial decisions you make are based on unconscious emotions and beliefs. You might not realize it, but it's your mental programming that determines how much you spend, how much you save, how much you invest, and most importantly, how much you believe you can earn. And that has to stop. You have to break this cycle. Now, tell me, if you wanted to reprogram a computer that constantly crashes, what would you do? Would you format it? Would you install a new system? It's the same with the mind. In my seminars, I have seen ordinary people with stories of failure, pain, and bankruptcy transform into true magnets for prosperity. Not because they became smarter, but because they decided to install a new belief system. And I want you to do the same now. For the next 7 days, write down everything you believe about money, without filter, without shame. Then, look at each sentence and ask yourself, is this truly a fact, or is it something I was taught to believe? You will be surprised. You'll discover that you're carrying around phrases from your father, your mother, your teachers, your neighbors, and you're living a life based on other people's beliefs. And if you truly want to change your financial reality, you have to make a choice now. Are you going to continue to feed the programming that limits you, or are you going to start installing a new mindset? You already have everything you need. You just lack the decision to stop surviving and to start prospering. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And that may be the hardest truth to swallow, but it's also the most liberating. Because most people try to change the world around them without changing themselves. They want money, but they vibrate in scarcity. They want opportunities, but they spend their time complaining. They want abundance, but they feel unworthy. And I ask you, how is the universe going to give you something you believe you don't deserve? I learned this the hard way. For a long time, I said I wanted to become rich. I repeated it every day. But deep inside, there was a voice that told me, you've never had money. Why would you have it now? I was taking my first steps as an entrepreneur, already deeply studying this subject. One day, at the end of a conference, a woman came up to me and said, Bob, I'm trying so hard, I'm praying, I'm asking the universe, but nothing is happening. I asked her, and when you think about money, what do you feel? She replied, anxiety, fear, insecurity. I said to her, then you're not asking the universe, you're begging with fear. And what you're going to receive is more reasons to be afraid. This is why most people don't attract what they desire. Their desire is contaminated by doubt, scarcity, and guilt. There's nothing wrong with feeling that. We're human. But what you must understand is that your vibration is your real request. If you want to change what you receive, you have to change what you emit. A real example of this is the actor Jim Carrey. Before he was famous, he wrote himself a check for 13 million Mexican pesos, dated for 5 years later. Every day, he visualized that money as if it were already real. He didn't just want it. He saw himself already receiving it. And years later, he signed a contract for exactly that amount for a single film. Is that a coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in frequency. And science is starting to catch up with this. A study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology showed that people who visualize their goals with positive emotions are up to 1.5 times more likely to achieve them. It's not enough to think, you have to feel, you have to mentally live what you physically desire. So, let me ask you this question. When you look at yourself in the mirror, do you see yourself as a prosperous, confident, accomplished person? Or do you see yourself as a person who struggles, who survives, waiting for a chance that never comes? Because it's that inner reflection that shapes your outer reality. Now, I want to offer you a simple but powerful exercise. For the next 5 days, spend 5 minutes a day imagining yourself living the life of your dreams. But don't just imagine it, feel it. See yourself waking up in your dream home, smelling the coffee, opening your bank statement and seeing the numbers grow. Hear the sound of your new car starting. Feel it, live it, and most importantly, believe it. Because when you start to vibrate like a prosperous person, the universe has no choice but to respond to you. Remember, you are not trying to deceive anyone. You are just freeing yourself from the limited version you were taught to accept. It's better to save more money. It's better to study more. And what happens? You wait some more and suddenly, 5 years go by, and you are still in the same place. I have felt this fear before. I experienced it myself. I decided to open a branch of my company in another city. I had the money, I had the structure, but something was blocking me. It wasn't the business. It was the fear of seeming greedy, the fear of taking a step bigger than my capabilities. I remember spending sleepless nights imagining everything that could go wrong. What's funny is that I never thought about all the things that could go right. And when I finally decided to do it, my heart pounding and my throat dry, the result was far greater than what I expected. And I understood something. Fear was never a real warning. It was just a reflection of my inner insecurity. Fear is imagination used against yourself. And here is a hard but necessary truth to tell. Many people are more afraid of succeeding than of failing, because if they fail, they have the perfect excuse to continue as they are. But if they succeed, they will have to face more responsibility, more judgment, more change. And change for many people is terrifying. Stanford University conducted a fascinating study that showed the fear of failure activates the same areas of the brain as physical pain. In other words, when you think about trying something new and you feel a knot in your stomach, it's not just psychological. Your body is actually reacting as if it were injured. But here's the key. That doesn't mean you should stop. It means you must keep going even with the fear. Most people wait to have courage before they act, but the truth is, courage doesn't come before the action, it comes after. You will feel confidence after you have done the thing you were afraid to do. And maybe your fear isn't of failure. Maybe it's of judgment. What will others think if you try something new? If you quit your job? If you become an entrepreneur? And you find yourself living a lukewarm life because you're afraid of being criticized for wanting a more exciting life. But let me ask you a question. Will the people who criticize you today pay your bills at the end of the month? Will they applaud you when you're out there achieving what you've always wanted? No. So why give so much weight to their opinion? Look, fear is natural. It will always be there. But the mistake is letting fear direct your life. If you don't take the wheel, it will lead you directly to a mediocre life, a life of what ifs. What if I had tried? What if I had been more confident? What if I had taken the risk? Fear is an invisible jailer. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It keeps you comfortable and stagnant. But the comfort zone is where dreams go to die. I want you to think now about something you've wanted to do, but you've put it off for months, maybe years. You already know what it is. It could be starting a business, asking for a raise, taking a training course, moving to a new city. Now, I want you to look deep inside yourself and ask, is this truly impossible, or am I just afraid? And if the answer is fear, perfect, because that means you're exactly where you need to be. Fear is a sign of growth. You can never expand your life without crossing the bridge of fear. And here is my challenge for you. For the next 3 days, do one thing every day that you've been avoiding out of fear. Call that person, record that video, take the first step on that project. It doesn't matter the size, what matters is the movement. Because every time you face fear, it shrinks. And every time you hide from it, it grows. You don't need to eliminate fear. You just need to stop letting it decide for you. You were born with unlimited potential, but you will die with it locked away if you continue to allow fear to hold the keys. If you want to change your life, you have to change the environment around you. And when I talk about environment, I'm not just talking about where you live or work. I'm talking about what you consume, the people you spend time with, the thoughts you nourish every day. Because the truth is this. You don't get rich alone. You get rich when your environment stops pulling you down and starts pushing you forward. Look around you. The people you spend the most time with. Do they talk about ideas or problems? Do they inspire you or drain you? Do they vibrate with abundance or do they constantly say the world is getting worse? Have you ever tried to lose weight surrounded by people who are constantly offering you desserts? Have you ever tried to study in a noisy environment with the TV on and your phone vibrating? It's difficult, almost impossible. Now, imagine trying to get rich living in an environment where everyone believes that money is a sin, that the rich are dishonest, that success is reserved for a few. You can want it, but the environment will sabotage you, and sooner or later, you'll adapt to the average frequency, because human beings by nature seek acceptance, and it's easier to be accepted by being mediocre than by being extraordinary. When I started to change my life, one of the hardest decisions I made was to distance myself from people I loved but who were pulling me down. People who said, "Bob, stop that, no one makes money that way. You're becoming obsessed. Why don't you just get a stable job?" And you know what I realized? It wasn't malice. They were just giving me a reflection of their own limitations. They were talking to me, but they were actually trying to convince themselves that it was better not to try. And I understood either I created a new environment, or I would spend the rest of my life trying to explain myself to people who would never understand me. I remember the first time I met Earl Nightingale. He had a powerful mind, a completely different worldview than anything I had ever seen. Just by being near him, I felt my mind expand, because environments transform, people transform, and the right energy can make you see what you've never seen before. The reverse is also true. Mike Tyson, for example, earned over $300 million in his career, but he lost everything. He went bankrupt. Why? Because even with money, fame, and success, he remained surrounded by people who just wanted to take advantage of him. People who reinforced his worst habits, an environment that sucked everything he had earned. And in the end, he was left with nothing. There is no point in trying to plant flowers in toxic soil. Even if the seed is good, it won't thrive if its environment poisons it every day with fear, negativity, criticism, and doubt. And you can be that seed. You can have talent, strength, and willpower. But if your environment touches you every day, you will wither. And when I talk about environment, I'm also talking about what you let into your mind. The news you watch, the profiles you follow, the videos you consume. Are you feeding scarcity or abundance? The American Psychological Association published a study showing that people frequently exposed to negative environments, whether physical, social, or virtual, are 40% more likely to develop anxiety, depression, and financial insecurity. It's not a coincidence, it's vibration, it's programming. So if you really want to change your financial life, start by changing what enters you every day. And maybe you're thinking, but Bob, I can't just leave my family, move, or change all my friends. I understand. But you can choose what you reinforce. You can choose who you believe in. You can choose to spend more time with content, people, and ideas that elevate you, even if it's from a distance, through books, videos, courses, or mentors. Today, with the internet, you can transform your environment without leaving your home. You can learn from billionaires, listen to conferences, join communities that think big. You can turn off the news and put on a video that expands your mind. You can stop following profiles that make you feel smaller and start following people who remind you of what you are capable of. Now, answer me honestly. Do you have more daily contact with problems or with solutions? With people who pull you down or push you forward? With ideas that limit you or that free you? The right environment doesn't comfort you. It challenges you. It pushes you out of your comfort zone and it shows you what you can be. And perhaps the time has come for you to create that environment, even if you start alone. Because I guarantee you that when you start to vibrate differently, the universe starts to align people, opportunities, and situations that vibrate at the same frequency. So, here's the challenge for the next 20 days.